Hey everybody, my name is Brendan here with Quackpack, and today I've got a Quackenbush Model 4 air rifle. So let's talk about it. The Model 4 was produced later half of 1881, early half of 1882 is kind of when that started production. This gun was the first repeating air rifle. Now, not repeating in the sense that it's semi-automatic, you know, you can just pull the trigger and it goes. But it's repeating as in it's got, and we'll kind of do a close-up on this, little magazine tube right here on top that you could load 22 caliber lead shot in there. This is essentially a Model 3, which was essentially Model 2. Model 2 shot 21 caliber slugs and darts. The Model 3 only shot 22 caliber lead ball. So then he basically took that 22 cal lead ball shooting gun and turned it into a repeating gun that had a magazine that every time you pumped it, it would feed one in. You could top load as well manually, and actually this little device here, and again we're going to go on some close-up stuff. This little device here up top could actually allow you to top load or you know, let the magazine do its work. Pretty simple design, right? Just on top of the receiver here, he milled this extra channel in, and then he put this tube on top with a pin and a spring. So the spring would compress as you loaded those lead balls in, and every time you shot, you know, and pumped it and got the next ball in, the follower would just keep going down. So just like his other designs, you know, it would cock with that barrel design all the way in, and then again, all the way back out to shoot it. So nothing really changes there. It's very similar design, again, to that Model 9 and Model 10. The difference being Model 9 shot 177 caliber. So just a smaller caliber coming out, as opposed to the 22 cal, he had 177. So slightly smaller projectile coming out of there. So, you know, that Model 2, Model 3, Model 4, Model 9, and Model 10, all very, very similar. There was three iterations, excuse me, of this, including like a sub-generation where there was the first 500. This is one of the later ones produced. The serial number on this is 1691, 1691, out of I think 1800 roughly. So this was one of the later ones that was produced. This is a absolutely gorgeous gun. I'm pretty bummed about this actually. I bought this on eBay. It's pretty pristine. And we'll, again, on these close-ups, hopefully you can see that for its age, it's gorgeous. Unfortunately in shipping, my stock got broke by UPS, so kind of currently fighting them there, but I figured I'd make this video in the meantime about this neat little gun. Front post sight, adjustable. There were a couple of different options where sometimes they use the Model 5 sight on the front as well. And there are some iterations with that. H.M. Quackenbush's personal gun that he had out of this was serial number 333, which I thought was interesting. So serial number 333 was his, and you know, that was again an early model. He seemed pretty fond of that. He was a big fan of the Model 1s. So to have this Model 4 have his own custom engraving, custom black American walnut stock, you know, all that good stuff, it must have meant something to him. So he had it beautifully engraved. It's in the Quackenbush family collection, I guess. I'll see if I can find pictures of it, maybe not. As you notice, I've got two new friends today. I've got Jessica and I've got Percy. They're joining us. They're just hanging out for a bit. And speaking of, you know, the 1800s, 1878. Does anybody know what that's for? I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about 1878, what that has to do with New York State. No? Well, 1878 actually kind of brings us into our sponsor of the video, New York's oldest brewery, Genesee Brewing. 1878. So about the same time Henry was going around creating all these rifles, the brewers over at Genesee Brewing were out there creating the craft and doing good for New York State, putting them on the map with all their beers. Speaking of, this is their newest beer that they just came out with very recently for the summer. This is the Genesee Mango Peach Kolsch. It's very light, effervescent, nice fruity beer, especially for the summer. And coming in at about 4.5%, easy to crush on some hot days and very sessionable, as they'd say. So that's our Genesee sponsor of the day. This is our Model 4, and I hope you guys like it. If you can find one, I would say absolutely pick it up. I haven't seen too many of these pop up, and the ones that I have not been in the greatest condition. But like I said, I was pretty lucky with this one, I felt, and unfortunately, as things happen, it got destroyed in shipping. So this stock's all broken. Kind of a big bummer that this came all the way from the 1800s in this kind of condition just to be, you know, broken in 2024. But I'm gonna see what I can do. You know, maybe get some restoration in there, and we'll see. So thank you guys. Catch you in the next one.